Hey, have you ever heard of the film Time Bandits? It's this wild ride from 1981, directed by none other than Terry Gilliam, who teamed up with Michael Palin from Monty Python to write it. It's chock full of quirky humour, some really out-there storytelling, and a bit of a dark twist here and there. Honestly, it's a cult classic and totally shows off Gilliam's unique style. So, what's it all about? Picture this: Kevin, an 11-year-old kid, is hanging out in his room when suddenly 6 dwarfs crash through his wall. No kidding! Turns out these guys have nicked a map from the Supreme Being, yeah, basically God, that shows where to find time holes across the universe. And what do? They start hopping through time, snagging treasures from all over history, with Kevin in tow. They bump into some pretty iconic figures along the way, like Napoleon Bonaparte, played by Ian Holm, Robin Hood, with John Cleese cracking jokes, and even King Agamemnon, portrayed by none other than Sean Connery. But it's not all smooth sailing. The Supreme Being's on their tail to get his map back, and they've also got the evil genius, who's got his own wicked plans for the map, hot on their heels. The film's got a bit of everything: adventure, laughs, and even some deep questions about life and morality. It kind of flips between being super whimsical and unexpectedly dark, a classic Gilliam touch. Want to know who's who in the zoo? Craig Warnock stars as Kevin, and there's a bunch of great actors playing the dwarfs, including David Rappaport and Kenny Baker. Ralph Richardson steps in as the Supreme Being, and look out for some hilarious scenes with Michael Palin and Shelley Duvall. When it hit the theatres, critics were all over its creativity and bold style. It made a decent splash at the box office and has been a favourite for loads of folks ever since. It's not just your typical family movie, there's something in it for everyone, with a twist of historical satire and fantasy. Oh, and get this, Terry Gilliam called it the first in his trilogy of imagination, which also includes Brazil and the adventures of Baron Munchausen. And about Sean Connery's cameo? Gilliam originally joked in the script about needing Sean Connery or someone cheaper but just as good, and then Connery himself signed on. How cool is that? If quirky films with stunning visuals and a rich mix of humour and thought-provoking themes are your thing, Time Bandits is a must-see. It dropped back in '81 and raked in over $42 million on a $5 million budget. Even today, it's a hit with critics, rocking a 92% on Rotten Tomatoes and scoring 6.1 out of 10 on IMDb. Curious? You can stream Time Bandits on HBO Max. Check it out and dive into a real blast from the past.